The woman you just saw? That's Valeria Marquez, a popular TikToker from Mexico. She was live on TikTok, smiling, chatting with her fans, just doing what she loved in her own beauty salon.
Me iban a levantar. Okay.
Then out of nowhere, gunshots, screams, and then silence.
23-year-old Mexican beauty influencer Valeria Marquez was shot dead.
Valeria was shot dead right there on camera. Just 23 years old, gone in front of hundreds of viewers. But why? Who would walk into her salon, greet her like a friend, and then pull the trigger? And what was she so anxious about in the moments leading up to it? Valeria wasn't just another influencer scrolling her way through trends, she was a rising star in Mexico's beauty world. In 2021, she took home the crown at the Miss Rostro pageant, which catapulted her into the public eye. From there, her following exploded. She racked up over 223,000 followers on Instagram and more than 100,000 on TikTok, people who tuned in every day for beauty hacks, skincare routines, fashion inspo, and that confident, magnetic energy she carried. But Valeria wasn't just about content. She was a businesswoman too. She owned and ran a beauty salon called Blossom the Beauty Lounge, located in Zapopan, Jalisco, one of the most upscale neighborhoods in the region. It wasn't just a side hustle. It was her dream, her brand, her home base for everything she was building. She showed young women that you could take control of your life, that you could turn your passion into something real, that you didn't need a fancy background or a powerful last name to make it. You just needed talent, drive, and confidence. But as we've seen before, when someone, especially a young woman, rises that fast and shines that bright, not everyone is cheering. Fame opens doors, but it also draws eyes you'd rather avoid. And in Valeria's case, some of those eyes may have been watching her every move, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. It was May 13, 2025, a regular Monday evening. Around 6:30 p.m., Valeria went live on TikTok from inside her salon, just like she'd done many times before. The vibe was familiar: bright ring lights, upbeat music, beauty talk. Her followers were tuning in, dropping comments, sending hearts. On the surface, everything seemed normal. But if you watched closely, something felt off. Valeria looked distracted, not her usual bubbly self. She kept glancing off camera, her eyes darting toward the entrance. At one point during the live, she mentioned that someone had recently shown up at the salon with a really expensive gift. Then she added kind of casually that she was expecting a courier. That little comment stuck with some viewers. Why mention that at all? Was she trying to reassure herself or warn someone? Did she sense that something wasn't right? And then it happened. A man walked in. Calm, casual, not rushing. Valeria looked up and greeted him. She even smiled, like she recognized him. Maybe she did. But in just a few seconds, the whole atmosphere flipped. The man pulled out a gun. No shouting, no struggle. He aimed and fired, shooting Valeria in the head and chest right there in her own salon, while she was still live on TikTok. She collapsed out of frame. The stream went silent. And the man walked out as calmly as he came in, hopped on a motorcycle waiting outside with an accomplice, and vanished into the city. What started as a simple beauty live stream turned into a live-recorded murder, and thousands of viewers watched it happen in real time. The video spread like wildfire. Within hours, clips of Valeria's final moments were all over social media, shared, reposted, dissected. What started as a normal TikTok live became international news, shaking not just her fans, but an entire country to its core. People were heartbroken. Fans flooded her comment sections with messages of grief, disbelief, and love. But it wasn't just sadness, there was rage too. Feminist groups and women's rights activists across Mexico and Latin America were furious. Hashtags like hashtag #JUSTICI para Valeria and hashtag #NIUNAMENOS started trending loud, urging calls for justice and an end to the violence women face daily. Because sadly, this wasn't an isolated incident. Valeria's death was just one more name added to a long, painful list of women murdered simply for being women. Authorities responded quickly. They confirmed they were treating her murder as a femicide, a gender-based hate crime that's become disturbingly common in Mexico. Even Mexico's president, Claudia Sheinbaum, spoke out. She condemned the killing publicly and promised a full, transparent investigation. But then, something disturbing started to happen online. Instead of focusing on the killer, some people began blaming Valeria, They said she was too flashy, that she wore expensive jewelry, lived a risky lifestyle, shared too much online, and attracted the wrong kind of attention. As if her confidence, her success, or the way she dressed somehow justified what happened. It's a pattern we've seen far too often, where a woman becomes the target of violence, and then somehow, people find a way to make it her fault. Instead of asking why was she killed, they ask what was she wearing. But make no mistake, Valeria didn't die because she posted beauty videos or wore designer clothes. She died because someone made a choice to walk into her salon and end her life. And that's where the blame belongs. The heartbreaking truth is Valeria's death isn't some rare, isolated tragedy. It's part of a much bigger, much darker pattern. Mexico has one of the highest femicide rates in all of Latin America. On average, more than 10 women are killed every single day just for being women. Most of these cases barely make the news. Many are never solved. Families are left grieving, without answers, without justice. And what makes Valeria's story so haunting is that it happened live, on camera, in real time. People didn't read about it in a headline, they watched it unfold. There was no filter. No chance to look away. It forced everyone to face the brutal reality that so many women live with everyday fear, vulnerability, and the constant danger of being targeted just for daring to exist boldly, publicly, freely. This wasn't about clout. It wasn't about chasing likes or building a social media empire. Valeria was a 23-year-old woman chasing her dreams, growing a business, building a platform, living her truth. And in the middle of doing all of that, she was silenced. Taken from this world by someone who saw her confidence, not as something to admire, but something to destroy. Her story is a painful reminder that behind the makeup tutorials, behind the viral videos and glamorous selfies, there are real people, real women, with goals, with families, with fears. And they deserve to live. Valeria Marquez was more than a headline. She was a daughter, a friend, a creator, and an entrepreneur. Now her name is another on a growing list of women taken far too soon. If you believe justice must be served, share this video. If you believe women should feel safe at work, at home, anywhere, don't stay silent. Let's make sure the world remembers her not for how she died, but for how she lived. Rest in peace, Valeria.